Well, well, well. Let's see if this works. Hello, everyone. How are y'all today? I hope everybody's doing good. So, let's. How you doing, Bama? How you doing, bro? Yeah, sorry the camera's not on or anything. It's nothing on StreamYard is working for me right now. I hope y'all can even hear me. Hey, Tyler, brother. Well, that's good, Bama. That's good. Can y'all hear me okay? Hey, Kitten, how you doing, sis? Yeah, I don't even know if I was hearing echoing and everything when I was trying to set up the um, the camera and stuff, and I never had echoing before on it. And I don't know if StreamYard's just messing up today or what. Yeah, I am. I am, Laura. I'm I'm guarding the Whitty Museum tonight in San Antonio. Supposedly, it's a haunted haunted museum. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have a night of what was that museum? What was that museum movie with Zoolander guy? Uh, hey, CR brother. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, yeah, night at the museum. Yeah. Thank you, Laura, sis. How you doing, Laura? Hold on. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I'm I'm gonna have fun tonight. But anyways, so survival. Everybody knows what survival is. Everybody's seen survival on TV shows, big names. Bear Grylls, Les Stroud, Dual Survivor with Cody Lundin, Dave Canterbury, Alone, all that stuff. It's fun and good when you know there's people there that will come and get you at a moment's notice so you don't actually die. And that's what we love about survival, correct? But the true survival stories that really has happened throughout history, all the Arctic expeditions, all the early explorers that had pain, pain, tribulation. They had to actually survive. A lot resorted to cannibalism. A lot failed to the elements. And that's what we're going to go over. We're going to go over survival seasons and survival gear, the pros and cons of survival in general. Yeah, Matt Graham. I like Matt Graham. That's why I left him out of the that's why I left him out of the other names because that guy actually got his name for he he was sitting in his house one day and decided to pack up his gear and go outside and never return. He literally did an inch bag and lived out in the wilderness for almost 2 years without money, without anything, and lived off the land and lived with traditional native survival skills. That guy, and Ed Stratton, he's a good guy. He's a good survivalist too. Ed Stratton was one of the British explorers that actually traveled the whole entire Amazon River, and you know only had what he had, and he documented it all. Um, he, he doesn't claim to be a survivalist or anything, and he actually survived through the hardest jungle in the world. Uh, I'm sorry, kitten. Nice, nice, Laura. I didn't even get to see it, sis. I've been having problems here at this museum. I'm sorry. I'll go back and watch it. But yeah, CR. Yeah, that's what we're going to go over. Um, the thing is, most people only plan most people only plan their survival gear and everything for the area that they're accustomed to. Say somebody in Sweden. Okay. No, let's go. Let's go. Let's go Iceland. Okay. Iceland, Greenland, Canada, you know, up north, very, very up. Alaska, stuff like that. Russia, um, closer to the North Pole. Those people only take care of what they need. And they know, like, those countries know how harsh their climates are. I mean, even in Canada and Greenland, Norway, stuff like that, there's survival cabins that's made that is taken care of year round for people that do get lost. There's even survival cabins and everything in Alaska for people that do the dog sled races. And if they get lost or whatever, they have a place that they can go to. Most of these places are stocked with canned foods. Most of these places are stocked with a bed, a wood stove, the basic necessities. Something like, a steel pot. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, you know me. I'm always at work and I don't ever have any free time to actually do live streams. So my work interferes with everything that I do. Sorry about that, everybody. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Extreme conditions, extreme season. Yeah, some are stacked with matches, a way of making fire. know, they have a steel pot or whatever because they know in those areas, as long as you can get the fire started, they don't have to stock water because there's fresh snow outside. And if you can get a fire going in that wood stove, not only do you have heat, but you can also melt the snow to make water. Love you too, Laura sis. Hey, Jared, brother, how you doing? But see, the things is like in those extreme cold areas, they do take care of people. But places in the South, say, Georgia, Alabama, people that walk, say, the Appalachian Trail, there is no there is no help out there on those trails. Appalachian Trail, yeah, it goes through towns and cities that you can stock up on and get some sleep. But if something happens to you and you're 300 miles away from the next city, or at least 30 miles away from the next city, and you're trapped on that trail, and say it's the middle of winter in the South, there's nothing to help you out there. And in the South, you don't know how the winter's going to be. You don't know if it's going to be a light winter with just, constant cold rain, cold weather, or is it going to be snowing and it's going to snow 3 feet? You don't. In the South, the seasons are unpredictable. The weather is unpredictable in the South. That's why you need to know what gear to take. Something that is multi use, something that can be used in the spring, summer, fall, winter. Even even places out west, extreme heat, cold nights, and like what Les Stroud said, and this is the only thing I take for granted from those type of people. Les Stroud says in cotton, what most people do when they're on these long hikes and everything is they wear cotton. They wear cotton shirts, they wear, blue jeans, stuff like that. Or they wear like basketball shorts, stuff that wicks away moisture and holds it. And if you're in a place that is extremely hot during the day and extremely cold at night, that moisture wicking clothing will freeze you will lower your body temperature and put you in hypothermia. And you're thinking, hypothermia in the desert? No, you can't do that. But yes, it does. How you doing? Un momento. But yeah, anyways, I'm outside now. But yeah, hey, can y'all hear me? I'm sorry. Give me a thumbs up if y'all can hear me. Everything's going wrong at this museum. Thank you, CR. Okay. Hey, Tammy, sis. That's good to hear. That's good to hear, Laura. How's how's it coming along? Oh, I'm doing all right, Tammy. But anyways, let me go back on my rant. Not really a rant, but anyways, seasons. Seasons can kill you worse and quicker than lack of water, lack of food, an injury in the forest. You know, nature will kill you. So that's why your gear has to match, has to be multi purpose, has to be a multi use item for each season. Say, yes, Morse Kohansky's idea of the survival scarf is a good idea. But the way people nowadays on survivalist channels are, they have corrupted the idea of the survival scarf. People want to make it water resistant, so they make it out of non-rip, polyester or parachute, material. That's good for the outside. That does protect anything that's on the inside from collecting water, from molding, from doing things to drain your body temperature. Most people focus and think that when you're in a survival situation, you're just going to crawl up in a fetal position and lay down on cold hard ground and sit there and pray for somebody to rescue you. And that's not what survival is. Survival, the purpose of survival is not to be trapped out in the woods, go and cut down 15 trees, process them, make a mud thatch roof, and live. You're not building picket fences. You're not raising puppies out there. The point is you're lost. You get back from where you are back to civilization or your loved ones. And that's what I'm saying about survival has become glamorized. People are now taking bushcrafting, which is a hobby. It's a hobbyist skill, and turning it and mixing it with survivability. And that does help in, but bush is what our pioneer and our ancestors did, say like the fur traders in Canada. When they would go out into the wilderness for 3 or 4 months and collect as many furs as they could, yes, that's when you start building mud huts and things like that, because you are long-term living in the wilderness. But people, say like the Arctic expeditions, those people were not there to make houses and live out there. They were to get out of there because their boat, their ship, was stuck by for that to wait until any other thing. Yes, like they are uncomfortable as anything. Anyways, but yeah, like a no, nobody likes using those things. They're dime a dozen from any Army surplus place. I mean, you could spend $5 and get at any Army surplus store. Those things are, but survivalists, once you get top of the line gear, at these companies are supporting them, paying their paycheck, and yeah, you need that. Thing with survivability, they are with me. But for find it, look at all the design. I'm back again. But yeah, there's always going to be cordage. There's always going to be something of metal. There's going to be something you can cook in, you can boil water in. There's going to be anything and everything that you can pick up. There's even been people showing brand new lighters washing up on the beaches of beaches that they could use. Stay in this spot. I'm trying, brother, but I always got to be moving because my my GPS keeps track of my movements. Hey, Carl, how you doing, brother? But nowadays, survival is more. You're able to scavenge more in this day of age than you have been ever in the past. In the past, that's when you would have to put bushcrafting skills with survivability. You would have to learn how to bone knap to make a bone knife, or flint knap to make a flint knife. Nowadays, you can go to any stream, river, whatever, and walk about maybe 15, 20 feet, and you'll be able to fashion a fishing pole out of a willow branch. You'll be able to find fishing line. You'd be able to find lures. You'll be able to find hooks. I mean, you may be even able to find knives out there. It's everything is replaceable nowadays. Yeah, nah, not yet, Carl. Right, CR. You know it, and it. But anyways, the gear, the gear that you need for each season. Yes, in the wintertime, yes, you do need thicker material to keep warm. Let's go back to the Morris Kohansky survival scarf. That was considered a very brilliant idea. It is a two-layer, it's a two-part, a two-gap, full-body scarf. It has a mesh netting on it to where if you need to, say in the summer or the springtime, in places like Canada and stuff like that, there's these things called midgets or black flies, black biting flies. They're kind of like mosquitoes, but no, they're kind of like horse flies in the South. Horse flies are biting flies in the South. Well, black flies are the exact same thing. They're like cousins to the horse flies. So, if that happens and you're in the middle of spring, those things are hundreds of thousands and they will swarm you. So, you crawl up in it, there's a breathable mesh in the front of it, and you're pretty much protected from the biting flies. But the thing is, you can't just stay in that all day long. So, what you need to do with that is be able to extend out and make armholes for it with more of that material that can be turned inside out, pushed in into the body. Uh, You can push in the arms inside the body of the scarf, add extra layers, extra warmth for you, but also during the spring and summer, it's thin enough so the wind can go through and be breathable for you. And you still are able to protect your body and still be able to do manual chores you need to do to help your survivability. Right, Carl. You can do that also. You can tie a small rock to it. I mean, but a lot of the fish out here, like bass and trout and everything, out here in the States, like trout and bass, they like moving objects. So you make a L-shaped trigger trap and you connect them together, tie the string to a branch, tie the rest of the fishing line onto the hook with your bait, and just throw it into the water and let the current move it around. That will attract the natural instinct of hunting fish like bass and trout to attack it. If you put the weight on it, it's lower to the ground, it's lower to the bottom of the river, and that's where you find like catfish and stuff. More of the hunter fish are up close to the top because they're wanting to get insects or whatever falls into the top of the water and is floating around. So you do that, and you have an automatic fishing trap for you that does the work while you do other work. Right, CR. And also with the bandana going down your back and everything, ticks, ticks that have like yellow fever or deer fever or anything like that, once they land on you and they feel something that's not natural, ticks usually fall off. If they feel something synthetic, they know that that's not skin. So they usually try to fall off and go somewhere where they can find skin. That's why, so if you cover your head and your neck with a bandana, a tick falls on the top of your head, it's going to try to grab onto it and feel that it's not skin. Then it's going to slide down and it's just going to roll itself off of you. And you have a higher percent chance of the tick not biting you, but you also have a chance of the tick rolling down, say, the back of your pants and going somewhere where you're not going to check. Oh no, no, there's no plants that stop horse flies or biting flies or anything, Carl. Yeah. If they want you, they want you. They don't there's nothing man-made or natural, made of nature that will stop those things. Just like mosquitoes. The best thing for mosquitoes, and I've learned this, I've never actually tried the skill, but they say if you're surrounded by mosquitoes, let them bite you and let them fill up on blood. Don't slap them, don't wave them away, because mosquitoes are attracted to your sweat. Same thing with biting flies, horse flies, even yellow jackets. They're all attracted to your sweat because of the salt in it. So you let 5 or 6 mosquitoes fill up on blood and they won't bite you anymore. Yeah, most people saying, but Matt, if you let mosquitoes bite you, you don't know what diseases that they'll give you. They can give you malaria, they can give you Zika, they can give you whatever. Yeah, that's true. They can give it to you, but also that stagnant pool of water that you're using and boiling and trying to filter can also contain those diseases also. So either way, you are screwed, but it's survival. And it's also your mental health. If you're sitting there smacking at mosquitoes all day long, getting frustrated, you will end up hurting yourself because you're distracted by the bugs and you're trying to do work. Say you're processing wood for your fire tonight, and the mosquitoes are around you, and you're slapping and whatever. And in that moment that you're trying to process some wood and trying to split it, you come down with, say, an axe or a blade or a wooden mallet onto your full tang knife onto the wood. Say that mosquito bites you. Say that mosquito is flying around your eye and it's too close to your eye. So your natural instinct is to wave it away, and you have that mallet in your hand. You smack yourself in the face and you knock yourself out. Hey, what is up, PPR? Yeah, lemongrass does work, but the thing is, though, Carl, trying to get lemongrass and vinegar in a survival situation, that's like here in America, you're not going to find lemongrass. In Canada, you're definitely not going to find lemongrass. In any of like the cold areas where the actual biting flies are, you're not going to be able to do that. And if it's like in a survival situation, you're not going to have vinegar on you. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Those are good, but we're looking for ideas within the survival situation that you don't have on hand. Yeah, and the bites drive you crazy. So right there, it's best to sit down, let the mosquitoes have their blood, then fly off, because once they fill up, it's only the females that bite you. The males do not bite, and people don't understand that. So you let the mosquitoes fill up on blood and they leave you alone. Then you can continue on. Say an hour of mosquitoes biting you. Yeah, that's an hour. I know. Time is important in a survival situation. But would you rather give an hour to stave off insanity and hurting yourself? Or would you rather trudge on and be mad because you're already in a worrisome situation? Do you want to add on to that? Do you want to take your mind away from one situation and put it into another? Yeah, you do find wild garlic and wild onions in the wild, Carl. But just like wild ginseng, you can find that in the wild too. But it's also, if you're in the right spot in the right season, and you have to hope and pray that no herbivore, because deers and stuff like that, they like that stuff as a delicacy also, because it tastes better than normal grass. So you have to watch out for those problems. Hey, girly girl, how you doing, sis? Right, CR. And also to go with that, CR, most people that do get lost in survival situations are normal, run of the mill people. They don't they don't plan on getting lost. Most people say are like Instagram people or whatever. Oh, I see a beautiful sunset and it's over this ledge. It's over this hill. Let's go take a picture of it and let's get off trail. But let's go find an opening and take a Instagram girlfriend boyfriend picture and get lost. You know, it's one of those situations. It's a social media people that usually get lost, or amateur photographers, or you know stuff like that. That most 411 cases happen, and they're not the ones that's going to take a survival kit with them. They're not going to take, you know, they're going to take like 2 bottles of water with them. And I'm talking about not steel containers or anything like that. They're going to take two 16-ounce plastic bottles with them, you know, or maybe a quart plastic container. Right, Carl. So that's one of the bad problems also. That's why I always say, no matter if you know how to use it or not, if you're put in a situation, do you really care if it weighs 3 pounds, if it's going to save your life? Is it going to make your life any harder carrying 3 more pounds on you hiking? Like, what is the worth of your life? What do you see? How do you see your life? Is your life worth $100? Is your life worth $300? Right, Carl. And see, Carl, that's a good example right there. The direction of moss. There was a survival study done by the SACS survival group. Like in the South and up north, the truth, they always say the moss grows on the north side of the tree, right? That is true on most things in the South, but on river birch trees, the birch trees that live on the river banks and everything, the moss grows on the southeast side of the tree. So people that are told the moss grows on the north side of the tree, and they see moss growing, say on a river birch tree, they are going to follow that direction, and they're going to go the wrong way than north. Instead of staying with that river, most people don't even understand following a river will lead you to civilization. Yes, CR. People don't even know what the North Star is anymore. And it that's what I'm going to go on to with gear. All right, compasses, comp, comp, compasses. Wow, that's a hard word. Anyways, say that 3 times fast. But yeah, people don't understand that most compasses in today is filled with alcohol. They're not filled with purified water like they used to be, which throws off any any compass by tenth of a like a tenth of a mile from any area that you go to. Say you have red in the shed, you're going north. Okay, if anybody doesn't know what red in the shed is, it's you see where the north is on the compass, and there's a small little turn dial around on the compass, and there's like two red marks on it, and you line up that red arrow inside between those two lines so you can mark your area of location to where the north is, and you follow it, and any time that arrow goes outside of that box, you have to stop where you are and reconfigure where the two red lines are on north, so you can continue actual north. And if you don't do that, you will get lost, because north is always constantly changing because humans are never going truly north. We are always either going left or right. Right, CR. But water, there's a lot of places that don't have natural waterfalls anymore because of how civilization has destroyed most and contained most natural water sources and rerouted them back to civilization. Unless you're truly on a mountaintop, you don't really have to worry about waterfalls, unless you're on a mountaintop or you're in a rainforest or you're in a jungle. Those are the only real places that you have to worry about waterfalls anymore. Yes, and that's a good thing. You want to be led to a river source because a river gives you water, gives you food, and also as long as you follow the direction of the flow of the water, if you follow it, say it's you come to a river and it's going to your left. You can follow it down to where the water flows and it will open up into a massive lake. It'll open up to civilization, or you can follow it up north against the current and do the exact same thing. You can find old logging trails, you can find forestry departments, you can find other things, even ranger outposts going against the current. Yes, water does keep you cool. So, but the thing is trying to find a true flowing water source in, say, desert locations. Say you're in the middle of Nevada or New Mexico or, the West in West Texas where the Chihuahuan Desert and stuff is. Those places you're not going to find river sources. It's hard to even find a decent pool of water that's not contaminated. You know what I mean? Our Native American ancestors did create and did grind out holding pools like the Navajo and the Comanche. When the Comanche was pushed out into West Texas, the only way that they could collect water sources is from the rains. And they grinded out holding pools in certain locations that were certain strongholds for them that collected water for them. That's why they were able to hold out in the desert for so long against the U.S. military. Yeah, there's a lot of old school ways of navigation, Carl. It's Some are true, some aren't true. I'm not saying that that's not true. It's just you need to take more of a natural look at things than it's like I've seen hunters that say that they know certain areas and everything, and they don't need maps, they don't need anything. They know true north. And I've walked with them, and I was doing the compass. And most of the time, they don't even know how to do. They You can point at a rock in the middle of the woods, say a good size
boulder in the middle of the woods. You say, walk to that boulder. And 90% of the time, when they walk, they're not keeping an eye on that rock. And when they get to it, yeah, they're in the general location of that rock, but they're not on that rock. They're probably about 20 feet, 15 feet away from that rock. But imagine, and that's just a short distance. That's just, say, a 5-minute, 10-minute walk, because you're constantly trying to find, as humans, you're trying to find the route with the least resistance. So you're not going to go through an area, if it's right in front of that boulder, you're not going to go through thickly patched branches that are together. You're not going to force yourself away through that. You're going to go to the left that has 5 or 6 branches that are chest high that you can bend over and walk under to get through it, so you don't get smacked in the face, take a chance of a branch hitting you in the eye, something like that. Right, CR. That also. You you cannot rely on intuit, decision making, especially in situations like what CR was saying. Yeah. Or you can do this also, what our early ancestors did. You can take a pine needle, if there's pine trees around you, or a cedar needle. You can you can rub dirt on it. You can fill a small cap or a small container with water, and you can put that needle in the water and let it soak in the water. That ground has the magnetic current to be drawn to north. It's not a full magnetic current, but it will go north. It could go northeast, it could go northwest, but it will head north. That's a small tidbit of natural knowledge also, because it's not just the needle, but it's the dirt that holds the magnetic charge to north. So, but yes, gear. Gear is good. Man-made gear will last if it's made right. Yes, you can, CR. You can do that. Yeah, you can do pine needles. Pine needles will do the exact same thing. But the thing is, you have to at least rub it in the dirt. And some people say, like the pine cones nuts, you need to soak it, then rub it in the dirt, then put it back. Sorry about that. Oh yes, they are. Or if you have the old school Swiss Army knives that come with the metal toothpick, you can break that off and use it. You can break the tip of that toothpick off and use that as a needle and a compass. Anything, anything metallic can be charged. You know, hold on, you may lose me. Give me a second. Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, see, in a survival situation, metal can be found. You know, there you can even, if you know what actual real flint looks like, you can break some flint because flint has traces of metal in it. And use that as a needle. Yeah. I mean, that's true. Use everything to your knowledge, you know, because the more you learn, the more you know. But the thing is, a lot of these survival stories and everything of true survival, none of them none of them ever went into those kind of situations ever again after what happened. Um, just like just like the story just like the story of the people that got lost on uh, with that plane crash in the mountains. Um, none of them, none, none of those people ever went on a plane ever again. None of them ever wanted to get in that kind of situation again because they knew how hard it is. They knew, it's one of those things. It's a one-time situation. It's a one-time. People fantasize about survival. People fantasize what they would do until it truly happens. Hold on, I gotta put y'all in my pocket. It's a it's truly a man's fantasy. A man's fantasy to prove his testosterone level. It's, oh, I could survive anything. I've done this, I've done that. But lose me going levels, but I'll be back. And it's nice to dream. It's nice to have that kind of fantasy that you think, oh, I'm going to be good at this. I'm the alpha male. Right. Yeah. I mean, like have you seen the pictures that people have, the frostbite explorers have got from Everest? Like, one guy had to have his whole entire left foot amputated off because of the lack of oxygen and the cold. Frostbite's no joke. Right, Carl. And see, that's another thing. People don't understand. You know, that's what kind of pisses me off too. See, people say, oh, homeless people. That's not survivability. That's not surviving. That's just, you know, and I'm like, yes, it is. A lot of people don't choose to be homeless. And, society is the one that made them homeless. So, have we corrupted the idealism of survival through TV and people that we just have lost the true vision of surviving and survival skills? And it's not just TV, it's YouTube. It You have survival channels of people that are lawyers, that are doctors. Hold on. Okay, sorry everybody. There's construction happening out here. Um, I hope y'all are still able to like hear me. Um, hey SD Mountain Man, how you doing, brother? Hey Deanna, how you doing, my favorite little cryptid? Yeah, CSD, yeah. It's I just believe like our the ideals, the the thought of survival is tainted now because of how people have glamorized it on TV, how people glamorize it on YouTube. And I'm not talking about the real people that's actually had to go through the situations. I'm talking about I'm talking about the rich people that think it's a hobby, think it's fun to create gear, to make this item with this expensive knife. And it's it's bastardizing survival and bastardizing our skills and our knowledge. It's like some of these people are making fun of us. You know what I mean? Most people don't understand that survival is what you have on you, not not what you can go and buy in a store, put in a kit. It's like the mini Altoid kits that people think, oh, I got mini Altoid kits that can make me invincible in a survival situation. No, it's not. It has basic stuff in there to help you. It's not going to let you actual survive unless you have outside skills and knowledge. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Carl, brother. And Carl, that's why me and you get along so well, brother, is because you have real life experiences. You have more real life experiences than a majority of the survivalists, the big name survivalists on YouTube and stuff have ever seen or experienced. Right, CR. And see that's the thing, the thing is like CR, me, you, SD Mountain Man, Carl, we know we have the common sense to know what's going to happen if we ever did get lost or whatever. We we could survive without the gear, but we're also smart enough to take that extra gear with us, you know, to be prepared for that situation. even if we just pack a small kit with us to take with us, it's still stuff that we put together, not a pre-made bag, nothing like that, that is made and situated for us and our skills, not a pre-bag that some big box company put together. I know, Carl, but still, brother, it's I do give I show my respects to everybody, my brothers and my sisters that have true skills and have true experiences. I I'm not going to sit here and drag on to somebody that I know is not real. You know what I mean? And CR, me and you, I've known you for how long now? And you have your skills, brother. You have your good ideas, your good abilities. You are not only are you young and skilled, but you're willing to learn and adapt and overcome situations. And SD, SD has his skills. SD knows what he's talking about. You know, he's older than me and CR. So is Carl. And that's why I want to show y'all skills. I want to talk about your skills. And because we're the ones that's not being paid by big box companies, but we're still trying to help people learn. Same to you, brother. Right, SD. Right, CR. People believe, like what you just said, CR. People believe that a lighter is useless after it runs out of fuel. No, it's not. You have literally a flint and steel. As long as you've made char cloth, that flint striker that you have in your hand will make sparks onto that char cloth, and you're able to create fire with it as long as you have the patience, the willpower to overcome the situation that you're in. Always, brother. Same back to you. It's like I watched this one YouTube guy, and he did like a 20-day survival on a deserted island on a Philippine, like in the Philippines, right? And he found a lighter that was out of fuel and everything. And he said, well, this is useless. There's no fuel in it. And he threw it back in the trash pile. And he didn't even have a fire made. And he spent like 4 hours trying to make a bow drill out of sun dried nylon rope and a piece of driftwood and try to make a bow drill out of it to set some coconut husks on fire. And I was like, are you serious? You threw down a sparking device that would have took flame, that would have took embers to that coconut husk with 1 to 5 strikes, and you wasted 4 hours to try to make a fire, try to make an ember with a bow drill. I have confidence in all our brothers and all our sisters, SD. Hey, Clown, how you doing, brother? Right, Carl. And you know, that's another thing. People don't understand that even if that lighter is out of fuel, you can still crack it open, take a sliver of that plastic that is soaked with that lighter fluid, and spark it and create fire. Yes, friction fire is one of the hardest skills in the world. Yeah, it's still used in Africa and third world countries to this day. But the thing is, there is specific people that is glorified because they know how to use it. They know how to do it. And they're kind of like on the level as like shamans and medicine men, like because they can make fire to where other people cannot. Ain't no problem, Clown. Always take your time, brother. But that's one thing, you know, like it's not a game. It's not survival isn't a game. It it's life or death. And these TV shows are like throwing people out and naked in the middle of God knows where. That doesn't happen in real life. Have any survival stories that you've ever read where a plane goes down in the middle of a jungle and there's four survivors? Is their clothes burned off and they have nothing to work with? Have you ever read a story like that? Have you read any survival story where the person is naked and has to survive with nothing? No. That is TV manipulating the audience. Right, brother, it is. Yeah, SD. It is serious shit. You know, it's and I hate to I hate how TV has done this to us. How TV has corrupted the minds of people, and they need to stop. They need to stop this because TV is literally going to get somebody killed. You know, it's like I was talking about like some YouTubers. I've seen some YouTubers that all they do, their whole entire thing on their channel is like testing MREs for survival. And there's one there's one YouTube channel, and his whole entire channel is making survival kits, right? And I'm not making fun of anybody that's overweight or whatever, but if your if your channel is set on survival situation, but you're so overweight that you cannot do anything, and it takes you a hard time to even breathe, you should not be making survival stuff. You should not be making survival content because you are the one that's going to die first in a survival situation. I'm stating the facts. People are probably going to hate me for that. but it's the facts, you know? If you're 300 pounds and you're built and you are constantly out in the woods, wilderness, whatever, and you don't have a problem breathing when you're sitting down and you want to make a survival channel, do it. But if it sounds like you're going to go on a respirator, don't make your channel about survivability. Actually, Clown, on Alone, the TV show, they actually showed people that were overweight that was surviving and had nothing to eat. And all the overweight people lost, the weight that they lost, was between 5 and 10 pounds. It was not that much of a weight loss. You know what I mean? It's because the body can only eat so much fat a day from you and keep surviving and rationing, just like you're surviving and rationing. A year, yes. I mean, doing stuff like that, but the thing is, unless you're eating, you're not going to survive 6 months. Because the human body, even if you're overweight, the human body can only survive 3 weeks without food. That's 3 weeks, not 3 months, you know? See, Carl, I would take that. You know what I mean? The only problem is in that situation for me is I would have to have 2 bottles of insulin. You know, well, I would actually have to have like 6 bottles of insulin because I go through a bottle of insulin every month. So I would have to have. That's the problem with me. Like in a survival situation, if I can survive like a week without insulin, without my body shutting down on me. But something like 6 months, I would die. Yes, you are. But yeah, maybe, you know, I understand what you're saying, 2 out of 12, because that's. Sorry. That's a reality, 2 out of 12 probably would survive. But maybe a third person just has that much willpower. Maybe not the skills or anything, but the willpower to live, you know? Yeah, but I bet you anything, those 3 people, their lives would change. diabetes. Like I don't have type 2. So I'm straight up insulin dependent. My pancreas does not produce insulin at all. And, you know, it in an SHTF situation, there is certain like vegetables and fruits that I can eat that are in like Asian countries, like jackfruit, sour melon, stuff like that that do produce insulin. I could, but it's only enough to supplement my normal insulin intake. You know what I mean? Like I would have to eat like a whole jackfruit a day. Then I could take 1 shot a day instead of 3 shots a day. That's why I grow that in my garden, just in case if, say, insulin producing, like the insulin producing company. Yeah, I've heard about it being used also, SD. It's just, I'm afraid of what could happen if I relied only on those natural means. You know what I mean? Right, clown. Yeah, Carl. So that's what I'm saying, you know, like a lot of problems. Like I wanted to do alone to show that I could survive, but they would not let me bring insulin with me. They would not, because you got to think how many people in survival situations that are 411 that are missing, stuff like that, how many of them did have health problems? And and I wonder how many of those 411 cases these people died because of the lack of medication, not because of their will to survive, not because they didn't have a skill set. It was because they did not have their medication, because they did not think they were going to get lost, so they did not take their medication with them. You know what I mean? And if they want to show, if they want to show survivors from all aspects of life, they should have someone that does have medical problems. But these survivalists know that they're going to be in a survival situation, so they take their medicine with them. It's like my go bags, my survival kits. I have a bottle of insulin with me at all times, just in case something does happen. I have a car cooler that is in the back of my trunk that is plugged up, that is constantly running, that has my insulin in there. And if I go somewhere, if I go out to the woods or whatever, I take my insulin with me, just in case. Yeah, Clown. mushrooms is the one thing, the one edible that I will never touch. Even in a survival situation, I will not touch mushrooms because there is only like 10 species of mushrooms that you can eat that will not kill you. And I don't have the time or the energy or the patience to identify those mushrooms. I would rather identify 15 other wild edibles than try to know if this red cap mushroom is edible or poisonous. And I do not want to taste it and see if it burns my tongue or swells me up or any of that stuff. No. Right, clown. Yeah, peanut butter does not like bro. Right, SD. Yeah. And see, you know how it is, like rationing, like rationing medicine. And even rationing medicine still hurts your body, you know? Yeah, CR. It's a godsend to not have to rely on medicine because and that's a thing that a lot of people take for granted also. People take for granted that they don't have to take medicine, and then they think it's the end of the world when they do have to take medicine because they damage their bodies so much, Hey, Warlord, how you doing? Yeah, having to grow what you need for, see, growing what you need is more homesteading. You know what I mean? That's more long-term thriving. The thing is, there's different stages, especially in SHTF situation, SD. Like, there's the before, all right? There's the preparation. You are preparing, you are making a AKA fortification, a stronghold, a area of security. Then there is the happening. What happened to put you in this situation to where you are in a soon-to-be survival situation? It could be a nuke. It could be hostile takeover of a country. It could be anything. All right. It could just be, an EMP was set off and destroyed all life as we know, aka internet, stuff like that. Sending us back to the dark age. That has happened. Now your plan. You've already taken care of all the main ideas beforehand. Now the plan is to survive. Because survival is the first 72 hours. All right? In any situation, the first 72 hours. If you can survive the first 72 hours, you are on the right plan, the right strategy. That means checking all your stockpiles, checking
everything that you have to hunker down and live without having to go into the city for any resource whatsoever. Because after the happening, everybody in major cities and even small towns are going to be at war with each other. There's going to be looting. There's going to be mass hysteria. There is going to be people killing others for what they want. You need to hunker down for at least 3 months and let everything cool down and calm down before you even think about setting foot outside of your area. So, after your plan, after you figure out everything you need, that's when you need to start breaking into your stockpiles. You need to start learning how to grow. You need to start learning how to. It's better at the beginning to go ahead and start growing everything, so you already know what's coming in, what's going out. But if you didn't do that at the beginning, if you were spending all your time just preparing and just having what you need, use the resources that you have on hand, your beans, your rice, your flour, stuff like that, to sustain, and then start making your garden. What to grow? You need protein. Yes, protein comes from meat, but it also comes from beans, it comes from potatoes, it comes from any root vegetable. So, root or vine vegetable. So, beans, potatoes, beets, stuff like that. Then you want to grow your citrus acid vegetables, tomatoes, squash. You want cucumbers, stuff like that do have like a citrus acid to it, because you need that salt citrus to go back into your body to rehydrate you. Yeah. Yeah, clown. Toilet paper is one of those things that just really isn't in a survival situation, because you got to think, in 3 months, water is going to be shut off. Electricity is going to be shut off. You're not going. Yeah, you're going to use the bathroom. That's a human thing. But one person goes through a roll of toilet paper probably every 2 weeks. So, and there's also so many natural ways to clean yourself also. Like my grandfather and grandmother, they had an outhouse for as long as I remember, until I was about 16, and I saved up enough money to actually buy them a shower with running water and everything. But for the longest time, we used dried out corn cobs as toilet paper. And we also used rags. It sounds disgusting, yes, but You use a rag, same thing as toilet paper. You can wash it, reuse it. Yeah, yeah, CR. Yeah, I mean, a sponge on a stick. Yeah. A rabbit may work, but it may bite off something. Oh yeah, Carl. Yeah, there's no surviving a nuclear blast. I'm talking about survival situations that is feasible. You know what I mean? Like that is survivable. Well, technically, if you're far enough from the blast radius, Carl, you can survive. I mean, there's still people in Chernobyl that are alive, that are living in Chernobyl, like in the blast radius, in like the radiated areas. They are, I mean, they're still surviving. They have a lot of health issues and everything. They are still living. Yeah, Moss can work too. Yeah, and I mean, and the thing with like corn cobs and stuff, they degrade. They they degrade. So you want something that will, because toilet paper doesn't degrade. It clumps up even when it dries up. It it's still there. Um, and yeah, it will get you. It will get you CR, but the gamma rays are more like long term destroying than the actual like radiation heat blast. But anyways, back to the plan. Say you did all your time planning, saving, storing. So you got your food sources and everything. Now it's time to have long-term stability. You know you're in a good area because the first 3 days you need to know if your area is safe to live. If you did all your surviving everything and you're in an apartment in the middle of downtown, you're going to be in that bloodshed, in that violence. So it's going to be hard to hold up in the city because you're going to have people busting down other people's doors, stuff like that, to collect everything that they can get their hands on. So if you know something's going to happen, if you see something that's going to happen, you need to get out of the city as fast as you can and find somewhere out in the middle of nowhere that you can take refuge. There's hundreds of small towns everywhere. You just have to look for it. There's even ghost towns in a lot of towns, in a lot of states. Like all in Nevada, New Mexico, West Texas, stuff like that. There's all these old mining towns. Pack up everything that you can pack up, get out of the city, and go.
drive to wherever you need to go. And if you can find a mining town or anything like that, take refuge there. Take shelter there. Because nobody in their mind is going to go to a ghost town because there's nothing there. Especially a mining town that's been abandoned since the 1700s or 1800s or even the early 1900s. Nobody's going to go there. Yes, vegetable seeds. I mean, you need to stock up not only just on canned foods but seeds, and not just plain seeds either. You need heirloom seeds. Heirloom seeds are the seeds that you can harvest. That you can harvest seeds out of vegetables and replant them. That's another skill that you're going to need to learn too in long-term survival, is how to harvest the seeds from heirloom vegetables, make them ready to be able to plant again for next season. A lot of people, a lot of like prepper communities and everything that I've noticed, they plant heirlooms and they let a quarter of their produce fall off the, they allow it to fall off the vines and everything onto the ground, and they let that natural decomposition fertilize their soil, and also the seeds get replanted into the ground and grow again. Also, with like tomato plants, any kind of vine plant, say you have a tomato plant, okay? You plant your tomato plant. You let it grow up. You can take the two bottom limbs of that plant and bury it underground. Those limbs will take root and grow new plants, new fertile tomato plants. You can daisy chain tomato plants together by burying just the bottom limbs into the ground, and you could grow 3 plants for the price of 1 plant. Yes, Cloud. But the bad thing about chicken manure, you have to let chicken manure dry out. You can't plant fresh chicken manure around because it has too much acid in it. The acid will burn out any vegetables or any like vegetable saplings or anything. It will burn it to where it does not grow. But if you let it dry and you compost it, then you can reuse it. Yeah, Clown. That can be too. Yeah. But yeah, eggplants can be done the same way as tomatoes. Anything of the nightshade family is considered a vine family. They like eggplants, tomatoes, potatoes. Potatoes are canister type vegetables. Okay, say you plant some potato nipples. Okay, you you let the potatoes grow, and you let the spuds grow their eyes. You dice it, and you dice it to where the eyes are by themselves, and it's just a chunk of the potato. You bury that, let it grow up. When it first starts sprouting, when you have probably about maybe an half an inch to an inch of a plant green coming up out of the dirt, you add another layer of dirt and cover it again. Every layer of dirt that you do, it covers up those green leaves and create more roots to where more potatoes grow out of those roots. You continuously build that. Each layer grows about 5 or 6 potatoes. So if you have a 50-gallon drum and you do 5 layers of dirt in there, that's 20 to 30 potatoes for one plant. All right, Clown, be careful, brother. Right, CR. And, even with green beans, you can do the exact same thing with green beans. You can take the bottom limbs, replant them, and grow more stalks for green beans or any kind of bean family. Yes, sir, Carl. Yes, sir, CR. So, you have the basis down of your garden that you're making. You know what's reusable, what you can do now. Now that you have a footprint on there, now you can use all the stockpiled stuff that you have. Your MREs, your canned food, your beans, rice, flour, etc., etc. Now you need to set up the defenses to your house, correct? Technically, people say yes. See, this is more urban survival now we're getting into instead of like natural survival situations. It doesn't matter. It's still the same footprint, just on a different level. Most people would only start coming out of the major cities and stuff probably about a year after, a year after the downfall. And that is what survivors are left. What people that could not make it in the cities, could not continue living in the cities. They're heading outwards because they believe, oh, I can take a gun, I can take a bow, I can go out and hunt, collect meat, do whatever. And these people, you're looking at these people that have never once set foot out in the wilderness, have never once hunted, and they think they're going to go out in the wilderness and kill. which is hilarious in my opinion. So you don't really have to worry about those people finding where you are. You don't have to worry about these people finding out anything. The ones that you do have to worry about is the people that do know the wilderness. The other. Sorry about that. Anyways, so your real threat in any kind of like any kind of like survival homestead situation is who do you know in those areas that you can run to? Have you made friends with the local? Have you made friends or do they know about you in certain rural areas? Because a lot of rural areas, if something goes down, they know who is a part of their community and who isn't a part of their community. And in something like that, most of the rural people that know each other are going to band together and get rid of the people that they don't know, unless they serve a purpose. If a doctor moves into a rural area, they're going to keep that doctor because the doctor can heal them. A doctor knows what they need. Same thing with people that have a specific thing. But if you're a lawyer or, you know, somebody that just isn't isn't a good fit for the community, they'll either kill you or run you out. Right, Carl. Yeah. So, you know what I'm talking about. The the whole mindset of survival is protect your own. And that's a thing with a lot of country people. That's that's a thing with like a lot of ranchers out here in like Texas and stuff. The ranchers will make a compound of their family. Everybody from their family will come. They'll make a big compound, you know, because they already have food. They already have land to, make gardens. They and they will keep their workers with them because the workers is the ones that make their land what they need. Right, girl. Yeah, if you have a skill or something like that that's useful in the community, they will keep you. Um, but the thing is like they will keep you
on a leash, pretty much. Things will go back to like medieval times, pretty much. It's like the people that own the compound or the people that have been there the longest, they will run everything. Then their children will be the enforcers. Then everybody that has a skill or a trade or whatever that could not survive on their own becomes free labor, pretty much. CCR, that's a good mindset. And I know a lot of people, I love you to death, brother. I love you to death. But in a situation like that, the ruthless will survive in these kind of situations. Right, Carl? The ruthless will survive. They're the ones that don't care about putting a bullet in your head and taking what you have. Um, and it also goes for, hey Maria sis, how you doing? Like the ruthless, they'll put a bullet in your head and not even blink. Um, but the people that care and the people that try to help civilization are the ones that will be dominated, brother. They, you're going to have to learn to care, but you're also going to have to learn to be able to snap somebody's neck if needed, you know? And that's why CR, if SHTF happens, I'm bringing you to my compound because I don't want your good soul being tainted in an end of the world event, you know? I want you to stay how you are, brother. My little Hellcat sis. Um, but you, most people only have stockpile abilities to be able to stockpile for a year of food. And that's usually a year of food for one person. Most people don't take their whole family into consideration when they're stockpiling. They believe stockpiling just minimum food is enough. Say you have a family of four, that's four mouths to feed, especially for children. Children need to eat more than adults do. So you have a family of four, and you think a 2 pound bag of beans is enough. A 2 pound bag of beans is enough for one human for a month. If that is halved by four, that's a week of food for four people. Right, CR. It's not. 100 pounds of rice is enough for one person, but not for multiple mouths. Even if you went down to half a cup of rice every day, or if you're trying to maintain your calorie intake, you would have to take 3 cups of rice a day. You would have to take 3 half cups of rice every day, which comes out to being 1.5 cups of rice a day. And 1.5 rice, the 1.5 cups of rice is probably about a half a pound a day. At least a quarter of a pound. It's been a while since I've weighed how much this is, but right, it's a good buffer zone. But if you're going to start prepping, you need to double your prep. If you think 1 2-pound bag of beans and one 2-pound bag of rice is enough every week to put back, no, you need to double that. You need to get at least 4 pounds, 5 pounds of rice. Maybe get a 10-pound bag of rice every week. Get a 10-pound bag of beans every week to what you can afford. You know what I mean? If you're going to like a Dollar Tree or, like a dollar store, you need to look at your price per pound. You think, oh, a 2-pound bag of beans, or no, like a half-pound bag of beans for $1. That's good. That's a good price. No, it's not. Because you need to look at how much it is per pound than what you're buying. It's like you could get a 0.5-pound bag of beans at Dollar Tree, or a pound of beans at Dollar Tree for $1. But you can get a 5-pound bag of beans at your local grocery store for $2.50. That is more for less. Right. Right. I'm the exact same way, Seor. I'm not a picky eater or anything. The only thing is I can't do certain flavors every day. You know what I mean? Like my big concern is I tell everybody to stock up on different spices because you always want to have a different taste to, even say you have beans every day, right? Well, you can cook beans in so many different ways. See, Maria, that was good. How much did you pay for that 20-pound bag of flour? Was it on sale, or did you buy it from Sam's Club? Did you buy it from like a bulk store, or did you buy it from like Walmart? And how much did you pay for it, Maria? Just so like the chat knows the price range for it and where it came from. Okay, so you paid $17 for a 20-pound bag of flour. So you're looking at like maybe 75 cents. Okay, so Schnucks. Okay. Is that a big box store or is that a regular grocery store? Right, Carl. Okay, so a regular grocery store. Okay. So you're looking at like 75 cents per pound for $17 for a 20-pound bag. Dried fruit, that's dried fruit is an iffy subject, Maria. There's some dried fruit that can last forever, like raisins. Um, then you get into like banana chips and stuff like that, like mango slices, things that's been dehydrated. It's not, it's, yeah, it's dried out. But the thing is, any of those dried fruits, if there's any bit of moisture whatsoever anywhere around it, it will rehydrate and mold. So you have to watch dried fruit. But if it's something that's like already has moisture in it, like mango slices, pineapple, um, grapes, stuff like that, those are okay and they can be around moist areas, stuff like that. Jerky, jerky is too expensive. Jerky's a good protein. Don't get me wrong, but it's too expensive per pound for it. You can make more homemade jerky, or you can make pemmican out of regular like ground beef or anything like that. And that's what you would want to do. You would want to make pemmican because pemmican is meat with dried fruit. See, yeah, deer jerky's good because deer is a resource that you can hunt, but you don't want to buy like beef jerky or turkey jerky or anything like that because the process of making that jerky makes that price increase. Yes, you can do that too, Carl. You can, that's what the Egyptians did. They would actually sun dry fruit and drop it into clay pots that had honey in it. So you could have honey and fruit at the same time. But look up pemmican recipes, Maria. Our Native American ancestors used pemmican all the time. You can make it out of any meat. And what it is like the first jerky, pretty much. Um, it's meat mixed with dried fruit. Um, it's kind of like a meat fruit cake. Um, and it lasts forever. Pemmican will last forever because of the salt. Salt storing is is perfect. Yes. And not only can you salt, you you don't want to put too much salt in the fruit because the salt will take over. And also the bad thing about salting meat is if you rely on it too much, it dehydrates you instead of rehydrating you. Salted meat was created to preserve meat, but it was also created to eat on the go while you're working because the salts will build back up your electrolytes and help you store and retain water. But yeah, I mean, it's just like smoking meat. You can make jerky out of smoking, and you don't need I mean, you need a fire to create the smoke, but there's two ways of smoking. There's the normal, yeah, it does, Carl. But there's two ways that you can do it. You can do the heat smoke that dries it out and everything. Or you can do cold smoke, which is you just let the embers die out. I mean, you let the fire die out, and it's just the embers creating the smoke. And the smoke is what purifies the meat and keeps it. Yes, CR. And that's another thing. Yeah. People, you always need water to eat because, yeah, like what CR just said, you have the water is used in your stomach to help with the digestion process. The water goes in and mixes with the stomach acid, and that's what heats you up in cold weather. You know, it's your body digesting that heats you up. Yeah, yeah, proteins, fats, any meat source you need water for. Um, Vegetables, stuff like that, you don't need any water because it's a soluble, um, where meat and fat is not soluble. Um, but the thing is, you can eat more fish without water than you can red meat. Yes, sir, Carl. Yeah, Maria, it is a good idea to buy pasta, but if you have flour, if you're stocking up on flour, you can make your own pasta. But pasta is so cheap to stockpile that it's easier just to buy the pasta instead of hand making it. But there will be a day where have to you would have to make pasta. You would have to make your own bread. And that's why you need a stockpile on yeast also. Um, or yeast flour, the self-rising flours and stuff like that. It's always good to keep basic. You want to stockpile oats also, rolled oats, because rolled oats are shelf stable forever. Oats will never go bad. You can use oats 15 years down the road as long as it's stored in a good place. Yeah, yeah. Oats is, you can make gruel out of it. You can make Scottish, oh, what is it called? It's like oatmeal that the Scottish made. Um, but they like add meat and stuff to it. You can do that. I mean, you can do anything oats. And you want to store wheat flour also. Wheat flour stores longer than bleached flour. Um, it's just, shelf storage life. Bleached flour, it has chemicals to bleach it. That's why it's so cheap. Um, but um, oat, a wheat flour, um, it's more expensive, but it also lasts longer. Oh yeah, yeah, lentils. See, grits is made out of corn, but they also do have flour grits also. I didn't know about flour grit into like grits for a long time, but real grits is made out of corn. But lentils is amazing. Lentils has protein, lentils has fiber, lentils has everything you can eat and survive with. Yeah, yeah, barley is amazing also. In my opinion, I'd rather have barley than lentils because barley goes better with meat, and lentils is more of its own kind of thing. And also, you want to, um, you also want to get bean sprouts, like regular bean sprouts that you can pick up at any Asian market. Bean sprouts will always continue to grow. So if you pick up bean sprouts, always plant some of them, and you will have a continuous supply of bean sprouts. That's what a lot of people like on the Appalachian trails and everything. They they put bean sprouts in like a Ziploc container with a little bit of water, and they'll eat just the green tops off of the bean sprouts and leave the actual beans in there because they are growing, and they'll just eat the green and keep the beans in the bag and let the water continuously grow. So it's an always food source for them. Yes, sir, Carl. the the vitamin waters and everything, Maria, they're kind of they don't have a good shelf life. They that's the only water, just like electrolyte water. I've noticed that they because I tried storing vitamin water and I tried storing electrolyte water. And the electrolyte water, I had some for like 2 years. And I opened one of the bottles up just recently because I smelled a sour smell coming from my water storage. And I was like, what is that? I don't know what that smell is. I thought something maybe died outside or whatever, but I went in there and looked, and a smell was coming out of the electrolyte water. And I opened it up, and it was this most putrid smelling water that I have ever smelled in my life. And I threw away like it was like 6 cases of like 36 electrolyte waters, just wasted because I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened to it. It was in a good, cool area, like no natural sunlight in it because people were saying, oh, BPA because of the bottles and stuff. And I was like, no, it was in a semi dark location. It was in a cool area. There was no like contamination anywhere near it. And it reeked like something died. Right, Carl, it is. Yeah, a lot of the prep stocks that a lot of people claim is is junk. It's just like I've noticed now, um, like Chef Boyardee. Um, I bought some Chef Boyardee like beefaroni and stuff. And I was going through and I was, rotating my stock, bringing the older ones front and putting the newer ones in the back. And I opened up, I opened up the beefaroni and I was going to eat it, and it was disgusting. And I looked on the inside of it, and that can had a plastic liner in it that decomposed from the acids and everything of the beefaroni into the food. So you need to know what cans does not have a plastic liner in it, because the plastic liners, they're putting it in the food now. So you have to eat it by a certain date. I mean, it's not going, it was like 3 years old, like 3.5 years old. But that plastic liner was degraded because of the acids and all the uh, like all the preservatives and everything that was used in that Chef Boyardee. So make sure you do your research and make sure if you're gonna stock up on canned foods, make sure you buy one can of that brand first and open it up and see if it's a pure aluminum can or if it has a plastic liner on the inside. Because if it has a plastic liner on the inside, do not buy it. Hey Shadow, how you doing, brother? Oh yeah. Yeah, and I just realized, I just found out about those plastic liners and everything just recently. I did a Google search and everything about why they're putting plastic liners in canned foods, and supposedly the FDA is telling food companies to put plastic liners in to stop preppers, to stop people stockpiling food. But it's like the FDA is telling people not to stockpile food, but then you have the CDC, which is also another government company, that's telling people to make survival kits and also to stockpile. So two different you're getting two different stories from two different parts of the government. I'm glad to hear that, Shadow brother. Yeah, Carl. It back then, like the older cans were meant like my okay, my uncle gave me a huge stockpile of his preps before he passed. And that was food and items and stuff like that. He had a lot of C rations, like the alphabet C, um, C rations from World War One, like World War Two, and and they had a Loctite seal on them. And I opened one up, and it was dated 1956, and it was tuna. I opened it up, and it smelled and tasted better than any new age can of tuna that you can find in a store today. Take care, CR brother. Take care, brother. Be careful out there. Right, Carl. You know, it they didn't have like the preservatives and the artificial add-ons and everything like food of today does, Carl? But yeah, Maria, like any of your prepping, especially with today's cans, do like buy one can and take it home, open it up, and look at it. When you run that spoon around on the inside, if you don't hear it connecting with metal on the sides, it has a latex or plastic liner in it. And do not stockpile with those cans if you see that and if you hear it, because it will degrade. It will degrade like from what I saw on Reddit and everything, they said that it has a 2-year preservation on it. So it'll preserve the food, help preserve the food for 2 years after its sell by date. And then on that 2 years, the food will degrade the plastic liner on the can. And it will poison you. And I mean, if it's a survival situation, eat it. But like if it's an end of the world survival situation and that's the only canned food that you find scavenging, eat it. But if you're stockpiling and prepping, don't, because that's going to kill you. And I think that's I mean, I think that's what the government wants. They want ways to kill us because we are overpopulating the world. We don't have the means to keep up with the increase of human population. You know what I mean? Like every day, what is it? 100,000 babies, if not more, are born every day. And we only have like a quarter of that, like 25,000 people dying every day. Oh, wow, Carl. I bet you one thing, I bet you anything that would be better tasting and better preserved than today's standards of chocolate. It's just the world needs excuses to get rid of food because we have put so many preservatives and everything in food over time that I love our food would never go bad, you know? But another thing is like, hey, Cara, how you doing, sis? Cheers, sis. Everybody, this is Cara, my sister goddess. She. How was your trip? Love you too, Maria, sis. You take care of yourself. And Maria, if you have any questions ever on like survival stuff, just just Twitter me, sis. I'll help you any way I can. So how was your trip, Cara? Oh wow, Carl. All right, Maria. Anytime, sis. I'll answer any of your questions. That's awesome, Carl. That really is. But yeah, a lot of things in this world just is not adding up. You know what I mean? Things are happening for a reason. And I think the higher up officials are finally realizing that we just can't continue our society the way it is. You know, in the past, we had ways of getting rid of population. You know, we had wars, you know, we had strife, we had riots, and we had a way of dealing with the population. But now there really is no war. There is no human war. There's no, I mean, humans versus humans is a last resort. And now every country is going to machines to take care of everything. So so the government needs to come up with a different plan to get rid of, to decrease the population. And what better way than with sicknesses? What better way to do it than with medication? What better way to do it than, you know, other means? Right, Carl? Yeah, no, it's a lot of, see, I think a lot of people see it, but they turn a blind eye to it. They don't want to acknowledge the reality. They want to stay safe. It's like the saying, the only safe place is safety in my mind. You know, it's if you turn a blind eye towards it, you're safe. At least you think you're safe. You know, it's like if you're on a subway station and you see some people attacking another person. Well, if you turn a blind eye to it and you don't see it, you're safe. You know what I mean? It's like if you your mental ability is to think, if you don't acknowledge it, it's not real. Hey Nicole, how are you, sis? Thank you for coming by. How you doing, big sis? But yeah, we have you know bastardized the way that we've looked at society. It's always we turn a blind eye. If we turn a blind eye to everything, we don't have to acknowledge it. We don't have to we don't have to worry ourselves with the situation. You know what I mean? And if they don't acknowledge it, they just they don't care, and then they say, "Oh, it never." Yeah, that's it, Carl. It's the exact same thing. That's why, like, that's why news media has took to the extremes the way it is to fear monger. And if you fear monger enough people for long enough, they blot it out. They don't they don't care no more, you know? They just they go on their merry way as long as the situation does not affect them in any way, they don't care. But those are also the people that have so much stress that's in the back of their mind that they blow up and they create the next news article because they're the ones that actually had something happen to them. Say somebody that's been putting up all this rage and all this fear and everything, and they worked a 12 to 18-hour shift, and they come home and their wife throws divorce papers on the table and says, I want a divorce. That makes that person snap. Then the next thing you know, they're up in a high rise apartment or whatever, either with a gun, picking off people, or they're the next suicide case. This man jumped from a 120-story building and landed in the middle of traffic during this event. They became they became that one thing people are looking like. Why did that person snap? Hold on, I'll be right back. Well, yeah, I thought I thought a transformer blew or something, and I come outside and it's pouring down rain. There's rain in Texas.
Okay, back. Sorry. Anyways, the thing. Okay, your gear. The pros and cons of everything that you have. Be it a sleeping bag, be it a tent, be whatever you need for any survival situation at a moment's notice. The pros to having gear or a AKA survival kit is one, you have that sense of safety. You have that mindset set that I'm okay. I can do this because I have X equipment. That is a pro. That gives you mental stability, that gives you comfort. But but the cons to it, you are still scared because you don't know where you're at. You're not as scared because you know you have gear that will help you. Two, another con, another pro is you made your survival kit. You know what's in your survival kit. You're not you're not preset to anything. You built your survival kit with your skill sets in mind and with what items you know that you would be taking with you out there to help. The cons, most people have a pre-bought survival kit. Without anything, like without any knowledge of it or how to use it, most people in a survival situation has bought the same cookie cutter design survival kit by some name brand company off of Amazon. And most likely they have bought the cheapest kit that's out there that does not help them in the particular situation that they're in. That's a con. Um, and also, a lot of people don't have the skill sets to use said survival kit. Three, the pro of what you have. You may have the skill sets, you may have even a small SAS survival handbook, something like that, that gives you the basic knowledge of what you need in any kind of situation. Um, you you have to know the basics of what you need. And most people that have a pre-made survival kit know they need water. Water is your number one source. And most people that know the area that they went to have downloaded a geo map of the area. Um, So it will show you mountain ranges, it will show you water sources, it will show you everything that has been mapped of that area. The cons to that. First is getting to those areas. The real situation happen. Getting to those areas. Do you have the means to get to those areas? What if you're on a cliff face and the water that you need to get to is 100 foot off of a cliff? Will you be able to make it down there without hurting yourself or causing death to yourself? Right, Carl. I mean, like most of them. I mean, even the pre-made kit stuff, like, like, okay, let's say the Bear Grylls Gerber survival pouch that they made. Okay, it's it's a signal pouch that's a bright yellow, bright orange or bright yellow, something like that. You open it up and it has like a fishing kit in it. It has a small retractable knife in it. It it has like 5 stormproof matches. It but it has nothing in it. It may have a mylar blanket in it, and everybody knows, anybody that's ever touched a mylar bag knows how easy those things rip. You look at it the wrong way and it'll rip apart. Plus, it's also something that's not sturdy enough. Most people think, oh, it's a multi-use item. You could make an A-frame tent out of it. You can do this. No, you can't, because one good breeze and the tension that you have to put on these mylar blankets to make a solid tent will rip it, especially with a good breeze, or if it's too close to the fire, because you need the fire to build up heat inside of it to keep you warm at night. The embers off that fire, if you fall asleep, they're going to burn holes into that mylar and melt it, and you could wake up with burn marks on you. You could work on. I mean, there's problems with that. Yeah, it's it's a useless, redundant item that all these survival kits have put in it because they see it good in one thing, or they see somebody like Morris Kohansky that knows how to use it, well, knows how to utilize it with other items. And they believe, oh, if somebody buys this, they've got to know these other survivalists. They've got to be. Survival is such a high market anymore. It's all about making money, and it's not about having that human survive what needs to be survived, you know? And it's sad these companies just want Alright, hey, I'm gonna have to get off of here. The lightning and everything's coming through, and the lights have already flickered on and off. So I'm probably gonna need to here. I'll always be today. Always be prepared and keep your head level. Take care, Carl. I will, brother. You take care also. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye. Take care, Carl.